Merry Christmas, everyone. As you can see by my beautiful lights and my outstanding sense of fashion, it's Christmas. And that means a beautiful Christmas video from yours truly. I was planning on doing a different type of video, but when I realized that it was Christmas, I knew we had to do something special. And that thing special comes in the form of a PragerU video. We're going to be responding to the video that says, let me see, what's the claim made? Was Jesus a socialist? Now that's an interesting question. I hope the audio is good, because this microphone does not like to be held. So let's hope it's not a whole bunch of random noises in the background that I can't edit out, because I'm not a good editor. We'll see how good that goes. So this video from Prager University is very fascinating to me. In case you don't know, I was raised a Christian. Even as a Christian, I was someone who knew a lot about the Bible, more than the average person. I really enjoy theology to this day. And I think it's an interesting subject to look at whether Jesus was or wasn't a socialist, as someone who identifies as a socialist. So let's see what they have to say, shall we?
Was Jesus a socialist?
Right off the bat, we have the most important question of the century. Was Jesus a socialist? I could, of course, stop the video here and say that it's a very idiotic question, considering the fact that socialism is a reactionary movement on capitalism, and capitalism wouldn't arise for another 16th century or so. But that would just be too quick, and we like to have fun on this channel, don't we? We like to have fun, and it wouldn't be fun to mess around with, facts and logic and consider that the entire thesis of this video is idiotic. I believe the first real capitalism you could speak of in the world was the Dutch VOC. Hooray! My country has done something for the world. That was the first real capitalist company. And it's from the 17th century. By my calculations, that's a little bit later than Jesus was alive. Or at least on Earth, depending on how you look at it. So the question, was Jesus socialist? Well, no, because socialism didn't exist back then. But let's see what kind of cool arguments they have. Let's watch.
Well, if socialism is nothing more than being kind to other people, then you might think the answer is yes. But you could be kind to other people and be a capitalist.
I highly doubt that. No, I'm kidding. Of course you can be kind to people and be a capitalist. Or kind of, as much as capitalism allows, but that gets into the question of whether capitalism is inherently exploitative, which is an interesting question, by the way, but not one for today. Today, the question is if Jesus is a capitalist or a socialist. Whose team is he on? Let's watch. Let's see what PragerU has to say.
John D. Rockefeller probably gave away more money than anyone in human history, and he was certainly a capitalist. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have given away millions, too. To get an accurate answer to our question, we need to define socialism. Socialism is the concentration of power into the hands of government.
No! That's not what... No! Right off the bat, we have a major fucking mistake. Socialism has nothing to do with the government, nor taxes, nor anything alike. Socialism, typically, is defined as the means of production being owned by the workers. This contrasts with communism, where the means of production are owned by the government or the state as a collective, and contrasts with capitalism, in that in capitalism, the means of production is concentrated into the hands of a few elites. That's the short end of it. Again, what exactly socialism, capitalism, and communism is a very interesting thing to talk about, but not for today. For today, it's just important to know that it has nothing to do with government and nothing to do with taxes. Yay! We love taxes, don't we? Because we love our roads. And we love our free healthcare.
Elites to achieve the following purposes: central planning of the economy.
Nope, that's just more communism. Just communism. That's what communism is, not socialism. Socialism can absolutely have a free market.
And the radical redistribution of wealth. Jesus never called for any of that. Nowhere in the New Testament does he advocate for the government to punish the rich or even to use tax money to help the poor. Nor does he promote the ideas of state ownership of businesses or central planning of the economy.
Yeah, he just says that you need to sell all of your belongings, give the money to the poor and follow him, and that you should collect riches in heaven, not on earth. But he was totally pro-economy, man. Totally. That was totally the goal. That's totally the goal of being on earth. Totally the goal of being on earth by Jesus is making money and exploiting poor people. Yay!
In Luke 12, Jesus is confronted by a man who wants him to redistribute wealth. "Master," the man says to Jesus, "tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replies, "Man, who made me a judge or divider over you?" And then he rebukes the man for being envious of his sibling. How about Jesus' parable of the talents?
How about the story where he tells a man to sell all of his belongings and give to the poor? How about the story where Jesus was directly asked whether you should pay taxes, and he said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's"? It's funny how they use these examples and not the fucking countless examples of Jesus being like, yeah, being wealthy really isn't that great. It's really not that important. If you read the Bible, which I have done for like 16 years, and I still sometimes do, you will notice that a central theme of what Jesus' message was that earthly possessions don't matter. And the only thing that matters is if your soul is saved, if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in God and follow Jesus Christ and accept him as your savior. That is what matters. So immediately the question comes in, why are we talking about this? Why are we digging through the Bible trying to figure out whether Jesus belonged to either side of our current political structure? Neither. He isn't like a political figure. He's a fucking religious figure. Why are we talking about this? Now, I know why they're talking about this. See, what you need to know about PragerU is that they're not a university, for one, and for two, that they're a literal propaganda campaign set up by oil billionaires and other bourgeois types to spread propaganda. That's what they do. In fact, funny thing, God actually says that he doesn't choose sides. There is an actual biblical story where he was directly asked, are you on our side or on theirs? And God says, well, fucking neither, I'm God. I'm actually taking off this jacket, it's really fucking hot. It's not really that cold in my room, and I'm already wearing a sweater, so there we are. Much more comfy. Let's continue.
Talents were a form of money in Jesus' day. A man entrusted 3 of his workers with his wealth. The 2 who invested the money and made a profit were praised, and the one who buried his share so he wouldn't lose any of it was reprimanded. Sounds a lot more like an endorsement for capitalism than socialism, doesn't it?
First of all, this is a really dumb take. See previous statements, capitalism wouldn't exist for another 1600 years. More accurately, I believe the economic structure in Jesus' time was feudalism? Don't quote me on that. I have not looked that up. I'm really not doing research for this video. I'm just winging it. But that's the cool part of PragerU. It's low-hanging fruit. But doesn't it sound more like do something with your talents? Like, it's not talking about like anything that has to do with ownership of the means of production.
Yes, Jesus spoke of the difficulty for a rich man to enter heaven, but not because having money is evil. It's not money, rather it is the love of money, the New Testament tells us, that leads to evil. Jesus was warning us not to put acquisition of money and material possessions above our spiritual and moral lives.
Wow, that sounds way more like an endorsement of communism than capitalism. Am I cool? Am I doing the same arguments that you're doing? Am I now big brain PragerU man? Probably, because it's really easy to make arguments when it doesn't need to be based on logic, reason, or facts. This message has been brought to you by every single conservative media person ever. I've got to talk about the point that they made earlier in the video, so I'm doing it now. I'm really bad at this. The point where they say, like, oh, look at these rich people giving a lot of money.
John D. Rockefeller probably gave away more money than anyone in human history, and he was certainly a capitalist. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have given away millions, too.
Isn't there literally a story in the Bible talking about this? Like a rich man comes in and gives 10 gold coins, and then a poor woman comes in and gives 1 coin, and then the followers of Christ are like, surely the man is better because he gave more. And then Jesus says, well, no, because the woman gave more. She gave everything she had, and the rich man only gave a portion of what he had. It was peanuts to him. Isn't it funny how you can find literal contradictions in the Bible to their talking points? Isn't that funny?
Consider Jesus' Good Samaritan story. A traveler comes upon a man at the side of a road. The man had been beaten and robbed and left half dead. What did the traveler, the Good Samaritan, do? He helps the unfortunate man on the spot with his own resources. Ask yourself, to help the poor, would Jesus prefer that you give your money freely to the Salvation Army, for example, or have it taxed by politicians to fund a welfare bureaucracy?
I don't think he'd care. I think what he would find important is that people get the healthcare they need and are able to eat and don't starve to death and don't die because you hiked up the price of insulin to 300% or more. I don't know. Isn't it like $300 or something like that? Fucking ludicrous amount. I don't know. I'll again do the research if I want to after production. But this is a really weird point. Back in the day, I don't think they had the kind of socialist social security structure that we have today. Even what? How do you think this would have gone? Like, the Good Samaritan would have shown up. Also, that was absolutely not the point. Like, the point was not to judge people, and that because there were, like, a priest and stuff came along and didn't help the man. But this is a really weird point to make. How would that story have gone? And then the Samaritan came and he made a phone call to the NHS. What? And then the ambulance came, and then he had to pay $5,000 fucking dollars, and then he went bankrupt.
Progressives like to point out that Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." But that has absolutely nothing to do with high taxes or wealth redistribution.
It has everything to do with taxes. I don't know why you think socialism is advocating for high taxes, because it isn't.
It was the seed for the idea of separating church and state. It certainly wasn't the same as
What? 1791. Yeah, mate. The fucking separation of church and state. Oh, this is the US, isn't it? Are you... What? Are you out of your mind? Yeah, mate, separation of church and state really was what was meant with give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Because it wasn't like the point that the Roman invasion were occupying forces, and that's why Roman taxes were a hot button issue, and that's why Jesus was asked about it. What are you on about?
It certainly wasn't the same as saying that whatever Caesar says is his must then be so, no matter how much he demands or what he intends to use it for.
No, it's give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, because Caesar's head is on it. That's why.
So there is no evidence that Jesus was a socialist, and there's lots of evidence that he supported free markets.
Free market and socialism isn't mutually exclusive. Again, PragerU doesn't know what socialism is. They'll equate socialism and communism and a welfare state. They'll put it all together in one fucking pot, and they'll just pull out whatever they need. This is because it's propaganda, and they either don't know or they don't care that they're spreading misinformation. Probably the latter. Probably they know what they're doing. They just get paid a fuck ton of money to do it. So
Jesus never endorsed the forced redistribution of wealth. That idea is rooted in envy, something that he and the 10th of the 10 Commandments railed against.
I just want to make a quick point that socialism isn't rooted in envy. A lot of online conservatives want to make this point, like socialists are just millennials that just want money and just like, I'm going to take it from the rich. In reality, socialism is the belief that you want a more democratic work environment, which I don't think is that radical. I think having mini dictatorships in which you work isn't a good thing. Probably not.
Most importantly, Jesus cared about helping the less fortunate. He never would have approved anything that undermines wealth creation.
Wealth creation. Damn. Yeah, because trickle-down economics, that worked really well, didn't it?
And the only thing that has ever created wealth and lifted masses of people out of poverty is free market capitalism.
Oh, there it is! There it is! The only thing that makes people money is capitalism. Damn, that's a really cool fact. Too bad Jesus lived like 1,700 years before capitalism, yet they had money back then. Damn.
Read the New Testament. The plain meaning of the text is loud and clear.
Yeah, give all your fucking shit away to the poor and follow Jesus. That's the message of the New Testament, not yay capitalism.
Jesus was not a socialist. He couldn't be.
He couldn't, and with that note, we're going to close because he couldn't have been, because socialism wouldn't exist for another 18 centuries or so. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Take another gander at these pretty little lights that I put up. And remember, socialism isn't communism. And it's not just jealousy. It's what Jesus would have wanted. Thank you for watching. See you later.